This video is all about how to approach the layout of a landscape design on a slope or a steep hillside. It can be more challenging to find resources about gardening, landscaping on slopes, steep hillsides, just because it is just more challenging than regular landscaping and gardening. It's more expensive, there's a lot of risk involved. So if you have a large, steep, sloping space, you're not sure what to do with it, you're not sure what to put where, how to approach it, how to save money, I'm here to help. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name's Eve. I'm a certified horticulturist. I'm a landscape designer based out of the Pacific Northwest corner of the USA. And here through Garden Project Academy, I'm offering practical ecological strategies, online courses, resources to help you have a more successful garden project and to help you make the world a better place with this opportunity you have to do some landscaping. This is the first video in a series of videos about landscaping on slopes. There's a link in the description below to this entire playlist, so you can just keep track of one link and have access to all of these resources as they come out. If you are overwhelmed about where to start, begin by figuring out how much level space you actually need. Think about what you want to do outside. What are your goals? How much do you want to be able to access, and how much are you happy to fill in with low-maintenance, slope-stabilizing plantings? I call this use-first landscape design. It's form follows function. I have a whole video where I talk about this in more detail. I'll make sure that pops up in the corner of this video right now if you want to watch that. Start by making a list of all the goals, activities, features you want to include in the landscape. Then go down that list and think about how much level space or near level space is actually needed minimum to be able to accomplish that goal. If any, you might not actually need as much level space as you think. Incredible kids' play spaces can be safely built into non-level spaces. They can be pretty fun and whimsical too. Water features and interesting focal points are perfect for any area uphill of where you plan to be spending time because you can see it. You can see so much more of it. If you are interested in having a pollinator garden or a wildlife garden, that space does not need to be level. It does not need to be near level. And the plants themselves, they are happy to help you stabilize the soil. They stabilize slopes. More on that in the next video. So if you are overwhelmed about where to start, your first step is to get some clarity on how much level space you actually need. Now, when doing research for landscape design strategies, what to do if you have a steep sloping hillside, the number one recommendation you are going to receive is to terrace. And terracing is a great solution, it's a great option, but it's not your only option. Please note that the word terrace can refer to different things in different regions. For the purposes of today, terracing refers to a series of retaining walls built into a hillside. Of course, you need to address any safety stability concerns right from the start. You might need a retaining wall, you might need some terraces, just bare minimum to make sure no one or nothing slides down a hill. Bring in an expert and address any of these concerns right from the start. Safety aside, risk aside, once you figure all of that out first, what you need bare minimum, I do need you to know that terracing is not your only option. The reason I share this is because many people, especially with large sloping landscapes, approach me completely overwhelmed. Everyone says to terrace, I am going to need a lot of terraces in my yard. They're so expensive. They have to be taller than I can DIY because of local zoning regulations, and architects, engineers are expensive. It's just my projects are going over budget. How do I design the layout of this? Here's a controversial perspective. Your yard, maybe it does not need to be level, or similarly, maybe it does not all need to be level. It sounds a little bit obvious, but you can embrace the slope. You can level the slope by terracing. You could add something level that floats above the slope. You can change the slope, but not make it level, maybe just make it less steep. There are options. And obviously, we are most comfortable spending time in level or near level spaces. This is just a fact. But I still need you to know that your landscape does not need to be level. The end goal is not to make it perfectly level. Or if you are making some spaces that are level or near level, you don't need to make most or all of your landscape like that. There's actually a lot that you can do with a steep landscape. So if you have some level or near level or even slightly sloping, moderately sloping space, just take careful inventory. It's not uncommon for there to be level or nearly level spaces in most landscapes that are maybe not as comfortable to spend time in, so we don't really think about them as an opportunity or just a possibility at all. Maybe they're way too close to your garbage cans, or they're narrow, or there's no privacy, or it's really hot and sunny. So just give these spaces a little extra consideration. Why are they not as comfortable? Why have you not maybe considered them a possibility before? And then start to think about any creative design options, any possibilities that could make the space more comfortable to spend time in. Of course, anytime you're grading, you're installing retaining walls, you're building, constructing something, it's going to be expensive. Maybe you take that budget and you invest in something like a greenhouse, a hot tub. Maybe you put a pergola or some really interesting shade privacy structure in that'll make the space beautiful, more comfortable. Outdoor kitchen, the list goes on and on. But if you took some of those funds you would have otherwise spent trying to make more level space in your landscape, and then you embraced having less level space but cooler features, maybe that's a good trade-off for you. I just want to remind you that this is a possibility. Sometimes we get stuck on, I definitely need to make a big level play space for my kids, for example. But maybe your kids would be happier if there was a small pool and a smaller level space. As long as you have enough level space to properly enjoy these features, maybe you would rather spend the money on those really cool features, have cooler features in your yard, than have a lot of level space. Again, safety, erosion control concerns, drainage concerns, all of this needs to be considered first. Then think about this other stuff. The next step, if you do plan on doing some grading, some terracing, is to prioritize. Take an inventory of what you have, then you go out and you prioritize, well, I have a level space over here, a near level space over here, and a slightly steeper space down there, and everything else is a cliff. It sounds obvious, but it's easier to level a near level space or a slightly sloping or even moderately sloping space in that order than it is to level a steeply sloping space. So simply prioritizing like this can significantly reduce the amount of grading, terracing, or other construction you need to do. This saves you time, saves you money, and it opens up more DIY possibilities as well when you're not having to move large amounts of earth or build anything too crazy. When you prioritize the use of existing level space, from most level to least level, maybe you'll end up with, a hangout space that's at the top of the hill close to your house, and then there'll be another little pocket that's pretty close to level halfway down a hill. Even if these spaces are pretty far away from each other, this is less than ideal. It still might be a better approach than trying to create additional level space. But we can work with level spaces that are far apart. It's all about design strategy. Consider these spaces like little rooms or little islands. The next step in the design process can be all about connecting these spaces with an interesting journey. You can design pathways, sweeping, switchbacking pathways or trails that connect one space to another. You can design these pathways based off of what will be easiest to install or most efficient, maybe working around any existing trees or plants you already have in the space because they're really good to keep there. Retain existing plantings on a hillside whenever possible. They're holding soil in place. Let's work with them. You can also get really creative with how you design these pathways, or if it's something you're going to be traveling really frequently, maybe it is about creating the most efficient route from one space to another. And note that even pathways are going to require some amount of stabilization. Depends how steep the space is, depends on your soil, but they might need these baby retaining walls. Sometimes these walls are a little bit smaller, they're a little bit easier to DIY. Do a little research into this, but as you design these meandering journeys from one island to another island, incorporate some landings. These landings create spaces to rest, especially if you have a longer journey. They also create an opportunity for you to change the direction of a pathway, as you're making your way down that hillside. They also create an opportunity for some beauty, some interesting focal points. They can have their own purpose as well. Maybe there's a bench placed at a certain landing. Maybe that's where you have an interesting water feature. You can also level up the safety and the comfort of your trails or pathways by adding some railings. These railings, they don't have to be boring or simple railings. You can really get creative with it too. You can incorporate art. They could also be a trellis. Do some research. There are tons of creative possibilities out there. For more help designing your landscape, check out my online course, Design Your Own Landscape Layout, where I guide you step by step through the process of creating your own hand-drawn, to-scale landscape design layout plan. So this is a plan that just encapsulates the whole vision so you can break that down into steps for installation. If you're interested, check out the link in the description below to learn more about it. Now forgive me a moment for a disclaimer. I am a landscape designer, but I'm not your landscape designer. I am your friendly landscape designer YouTuber who is here to help, but I'm also not a landscape architect. I'm not an engineer. Slightly different focus there. Slopes, there's a lot more that goes into them. So please consider this informational, inspirational purposes. I hope that this video series helps you, but remember that Best practices can vary from region to region. Best practices can also vary from yard to yard, just very specific individual characteristics. So do additional research, reach out to local expertise, any certified expertise that you need, and just remember that it's always up to you to decide what is best for you and your yard. This is the first video in a series about designing steeply sloped spaces. Check out the next video, which I'll make sure pops up on the screen right now. This will be more about plantings. As soon as it's out, it'll be popping up. If it's not out yet, be sure to subscribe. Also, check out the link to the entire Landscape Design on Slopes playlist. That's in the description below. So if you just keep track of that one link, you don't have to look around for where these videos are. That's the whole playlist. As more videos come out, I'll continue to add to this same playlist. Thank you so much, and happy gardening.